Good day, everyone. Welcome to our interview regarding Philippine Englishes. First and foremost, we collected participants, and in order to take into account Cheshire's 2006 age and language specific use, we have taken 3 participants from differing generations. So we have one participant who is from Generation C, we have another from the millennial age, from the millennial generation, and finally we have our last participant from the Generation X. And so before we started the interview, obviously their consent was collected, and we have different questions ranging from the personal standard and identity, we have historical perspectives, we have the linguistic and literary lens, and finally we took into account society and inequality. So without further ado, let's hop on to the interview. Thank you. So before we start, can you please tell the camera your name, your age, and your occupation?
Hello, my name is Nathan Garcia Silascano and I am 16 years old and my occupation is a student.
I'm Jedediah Clarin, I'm a student, I'm 25 years old.
My name is Sherry and I'm 50, an ESL teacher.
Okay, so we have a professional on our hands. Thank you so much. So before we start, let me ask you some calibrating questions. Did you first learn Filipino or English?
Filipino, but my mom told me that I should speak English to her.
Okay.
So I could learn.
Okay. Can you just raise your voice just a bit for the camera?
Yes.
Okay. So you first learned Filipino, then English. How do you use Filipino in English? Do you speak English at home or in school?
I speak English at home or when my mom is around.
Okay, but in school, in your school, are you asked to speak in English?
Oh, it depends on the subject, like English or the subject or the English subject.
Okay, I see.
Okay, so I learned English. I learned English first.
Mhm.
I learned it through TV shows and
Okay.
of course my mom tinuruan niya ako because she wanted me to master the language. I use English in my professional dealings in school, but of course, conversation Tagalog.
What did you learn first? Did you learn English first, or did you learn Filipino first?
Filipino.
Filipino first. And which language do you use at home, in school, at work?
At home, I would say we're essentially bilingual. And then at work, predominantly English, of course. And at school, we only had one Filipino subject. The rest was in English.
Okay, so it was predominantly English as well.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the first question. So the first question is, how do you feel when speaking English or Filipino? Does it change the way you express yourself?
Not really, but it does change sometimes on how I express myself. Like when I speak English, my voice is a bit louder compared to Tagalog.
Oh, and do you feel like you can express yourself better in English or Filipino?
English,
English, why is that?
because other people can understand me. But if you're asking that question, then the answer is Tagalog because it's comforting.
It's comforting for you. Tagalog is comforting.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, I express myself better in Tagalog. Pero kasi may mga Tagalog or may mga English words, vice versa, na walang direct Tagalog translation. So that's what makes it difficult in terms of like expressing yourself.
I understood.
Yeah, because I'm bilingual, it can get confusing sometimes. Originally, I was more confident speaking in Filipino, but because in my profession, it required me to speak in English all the time, sometimes I get confused when I have to shift back and forth between Filipino and English.
Okay. So, where are you most comfortable? What are you most comfortable using when trying to express yourself? English or Filipino, or can the case be made for Taglish?
I would say Taglish.
Taglish.
Yeah.
Next, when you use English, who or what is your model for a good usage?
My mom.
Your mom. So when you think of good English, you think of your mom.
Yes.
Okay. So we can say that your view is more local than international. Okay, I see.
Of course, my mom, syempre bias ako. She's the one that taught me.
Mhm. So you would say na yung model mo is more local than international.
Yes.
My model of good usage. What do you mean?
Like, who do you look up to as a standard of using English?
Definitely my English teachers, and in my professional experience, my manager.
Oh, okay. So you could say that your standard is more local than international.
Absolutely.
Next, do you think speaking English today still symbolizes prestige, education, and status? Or has it become more practical for daily communication?
It's practical for daily communication because English is the universal language. Even in other countries,
Yeah.
they understand English. So English doesn't really represent anything except communication.
Okay, so for you, it's not that only people who studied, only people with money can speak English. It's everyone. It's for everyone's practical communication.
Yes, and everyone's understanding.
Okay.
Education and practicality, I think. Kasi, yun, as what I have mentioned earlier, may mga direct translate, wala kasing mga direct translation yung ibang words, like Tagalog to English and vice versa. And education, kasi, not really prestige, kasi you can learn English anywhere. Kasi, di ba, ako nga, I learned it like from cartoons, games. So I think it's not really of like it's not prestige, pero it can be a sign of education. So it's, kung di mo naman talaga siya aralin, hindi mo naman siya matututunan ng gano'ng kabilis. Or if you don't practice it.
I would say it's both, but I think sadly in our culture, it's linked with a status symbol. So I think generally our impression is if a person can speak fluently, that person is more educated. Although we know that that's not always the case.
Okay, I see. Thank you so much. Okay, next. So this is kind of technical. Well, there's a scholar named Lamzon in 1969 who proposed an idea of a standard Philippine English. So maybe just to ease up the question, we have Bisaya English, we have Hokaglish, we have Taglish, we have Konyo English. In your thoughts, do you think we should create a standard Philippine English, or do we allow these Englishes to sort of evolve and adapt on their own?
I don't think we should evolve or adapt to them on their own, because if these varieties increase, then it's gonna be more complicated and it's gonna increase the roster.
Oh, okay.
Languages.
So you think that leads to a more difficult understanding here in the English, in the Philippines, for what Philippine English is?
Yes.
Okay, I see.
Okay, again, I wanna qualify my answer. Tingin ko kapag conversational, it's better to keep it flexible. Kasi the main goal of, yun nga, communication or language is to get your point across, to express yourself better. And I think hindi dapat masyadong rigid yung rules natin when it comes to that. Kasi as long as you convey your message properly or nagkakaintindihan kayo, I think that's better though. Kesa naman i-apply natin yung rules sa kahit conversational. Pero I do believe na dapat may standardized tayo.
Oh, okay.
May standardized use of the English language kapag may professional yung dealings natin.
Let me just ask you a follow-up question. So, kasi we have Bisaya English, we have Hokaglish, we have Tagalog English. Do you think among the Englishes in the Philippines, dapat may standard Philippine English tayo?
Not necessarily, but I think yung mga rules lang, like proper grammar, mga ganun, proper pronunciation, I think at least ayun, kapag ka professional setting. Pero kapag ka conversational, hindi naman.
Okay.
Hindi naman.
I feel that we should allow English to evolve because it's too limiting if we set a standard per se.
Next. You don't happen to have read any Filipino writers who write in the English language? Maybe Nick Joaquin, maybe some of his works?
Not really.
Not really. That's okay, that's fine. Let me change the question. What happens to our culture when Filipino writers use English? Does it help us be heard globally? or does it lessen the value of our languages?
It lessens the value of our languages because the writers are using English, but the Filipino writers, they present us Filipinos, so
Mhm.
so it's in between.
Okay, okay. But if you were to say which has more benefit, do you think it's okay to represent us globally in replacement of adding value to our language, or do you think we should prioritize adding value to our language rather than being heard globally? Like, which one do we prioritize?
Wait, let me think. Can you repeat the question?
Sorry, maybe magulo yung pag-phrase ko na question. For you, what is better? Or what should we prioritize? Should we prioritize being heard globally? Should we focus on writing Filipino works in English so that we can be represented? Or should we focus on the flourishing of our Filipino language? Like, instead of being heard globally, we want to focus on our culture, we want to focus on our language to represent us.
We should focus on our language
Mhm.
and what represents us, because there are already like a ton of Filipinos who want to become artists, or
Yeah.
the ones that they already present us from other countries like Lea Salonga.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So I think we should value our language and prioritize our language first, so
Okay.
we can understand it.
Okay, so for you, there are already a lot of representations for Filipinos globally, so we should focus on flourishing our language here in the Philippines, in literature, in songs, in written works.
Yes.
Hindi masyado,
Not so much.
Not so much, pero nakakabasa ako before, like yung mga children's book na tinatranslate.
Oh, exactly.
Hindi siya, it doesn't seem natural.
So you think the English language cannot portray in a great manner the experiences of Filipino?
Di man, but I think we can do a better job in translating. Di ba? Kasi parang nangyayari kasi minsan direct translation.
Okay,
So baka we can just get the point across rather than like directly translating the sentences.
I see.
Para mabuha natural lang siya.
But you think that the English language can correctly portray the lived experiences of Filipinos as opposed to Filipino?
I mean, in terms of hearing, personally lang naman, parang ang awkward kapag ka ganun. Parang mas maganda syempre Tagalog or yung Filipino. Pero when you're reading, I think it can naman.
Okay, I see. What happens to our culture when Filipino writers use English? Does it help us be heard globally? Or does it lessen more the value of our languages?
That's a great question, but I think from what I have observed, if we want to have a global reach, it's better to use English as the medium of communication. Although we also see from other cultures like Japanese and Chinese, they don't try to adapt to English, so they try to make do with subtitles if that's necessary.
And just a follow-up question, why do you think that is that as Filipinos, we're trying to use English as our language for communication in the professional setting as opposed to Japan and other countries who try to use their vernacular than trying to emulate what is known globally as the English language?
Personally, I think it's historical because we were colonized by so many people, and I think English has such a strong influence in Filipino culture, so we use it a lot.
Okay. Next, post-independence or after being colonized by the Americans, English remained as an official language. You're aware of that, right? That we have two official languages. We have Filipino and
Yes.
English. Did this unify the Philippines or did this create a bigger division?
Create a bigger division because we mostly speak Tagalog. If
Okay.
the Americans didn't colonize us.
Oh, but you're aware that in the Philippines we have a lot of languages. We have Bisaya, we have Ilocano, we have Cebuano, we have Tagalog. So amongst all of these languages, you still think that English divided us further rather than unifying us?
Yeah, because some of the Filipinos, they speak English, and a lot of children these days, they're sometimes taught English, so our language is kind of
Yes.
minimized.
The languages of the other parts are minimized. So you think English is starting to emerge as the dominant language in the Philippines? Is that it?
Not,
Or no?
Not really. Because most of the time you only speak English when you have a professional job or when you're forced to.
Okay. So more on professional settings, right?
Yes,
Not
but
conversational.
yes, but most of us we speak Tagalog.
Tagalog when we're trying to converse.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
I think it unified the nation kasi kagaya nga nung what you mentioned earlier, may mga, di ba, kunyari, may mga dialects.
Oo.
Dito madami tayong dialects. So, meron tayong at least isang common denominator, which is the English language. Na para maging medium, para makapagkaintindihan tayo, at the very least.
Okay, understood.
I think it created more of a divide because it affected our perception of social status in regard to communication.
Okay. Moving on. What risks arise if Filipino is overshadowed by English? If there are any risks?
There are risks like our language that we're born with is gonna fade if we keep using English. So it's better if we just balance from English to Tagalog.
Oh, I see. So you think it's still important that generations after this are still taught Filipino, even if it is not seen as being used in professional settings? It's still important for us to retain Filipino as a language.
Yes, because that's our symbol. That's who we are. That's what represents us.
Okay, thank you so much.
I think, okay, medyo pero I think yung sovereignty natin, yung pagkakakilanlan natin, mawawala eh. Kasi syempre we're a separate entity, we're a separate state. So, like, ang ganda na may sarili tayong language. Like, that's actually an advantage that we have to, what do you call this? We have to, we have to capitalize on that one. Kasi may mga states, diba, na they don't have their, for me, parang wala silang sariling language. I think benefit na natin yun, and I think we should capitalize on that and not let the English language overshadow what we have, kasi that's part of our culture, that's part of our nation. Yung parang symbol siya eh. Parang yung flag, yun din yung language natin. So I think we should capitalize and not let the English language overshadow our own.
Okay.
I think that if we use English more over our national language, it would affect our cultural identity. And I dream of the day when we would have so much more pride in our national language. Like, what I see nowadays is if somebody can speak English better than Filipino, from what I've observed, they are perceived to be better. But I dream of the day when a Filipino would be prouder of himself or herself if he or she is able to express himself or herself better in his or her mother tongue, which is Filipino.
Okay, thanks. That's a beautiful answer. And last question. Seeing all of the questions, hearing all of the questions, do you think we can call, because we have a variety of English in the Philippines, right? We have Philippine English. And we have terminologies, like, can you give me some terminologies that we've invented in the English language?
CR.
CR is good? CR is one?
Ref.
Ref is another, yeah. So in Philippine English, we have our own vocabulary. We have our own set of rules or grammatical structures. Do you think we can call that English our own?
Yes, it's our own English because we came up with it ourselves. We came up with these short terms so we can understand it better without using long terms like restroom or air conditioning.
Okay. So this English is a distinct variety from general American English.
Yes.
Okay.
Colonized English. In a sense, yes, kasi we have created words na hindi naman talaga present sa English English language, yung wala sa dictionary, di ba? Yung mga aircon, mga CR, yung mga ganun. So, I think in a sense, yes. We have made our own, what do you call this? We have made our own form or branch of that language, kahit maliit.
So we can say that Philippine English is not just an aberration from general American English, but it is a distinct variety in itself from English itself.
Yes, I think at the very least, yeah. At least, yeah.
We have dealt with that in my previous job as a language and conversational English coach. And actually, the American clients themselves said that we have a predisposition to try to imitate the American language, which was why in our center, from language-based, we shifted towards communication-based coaching. Because English is not our first language, so the usage of our mother tongue is already a given. We focused more on how well we communicate ourselves in English rather than on the technical side, because that's not our mother tongue.
Okay, that concludes our interview. Thank you so much. Once again, I hope you have a great day, and I hope our viewers have learned something from this interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that concludes our interview videos. Once again, wonderful insights from 3 different generations. We can see the differences from their perspectives. So right after this, we will have an analysis, which will also be posted in same submission. Thank you everyone for listening, and I hope you gained wonderful insights from these multiple interviews, and I hope that we can use this for future research purposes. Thank you everyone.